are listening to Veterans Action Report on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. I'm your host, Nick, coming to you live from St. Paul, Minnesota.
And I'm Andrew Canales, coming to you live from Evergreen, Colorado.
Every day, veterans are struggling with many issues spanning from homelessness to mental health crisis, often leading to 22 veterans a day taking their own lives. There are veterans all around the U.S. leading the fight to help guide our brothers and sisters to a better life. We will bring you stories from all around the country, telling tales of veteran struggles and triumph. Every episode benefits veteran-run nonprofits Warriors Next Adventure, helping veterans fight PTSD through recreational therapy and new adventures. And Houses for Warriors, helping solve the homeless crisis, leading veterans to a better lifestyle. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Veterans Action Report. Sorry about the glare here. I'm just kind of adjusting my studio here a little bit. Real quick before we get started, everyone knows that this show promotes Warriors Next Adventure and Houses for Warriors. I just wanted to say something. So Houses for Warriors recently lost one of their veterans. I just want to say shout out to Mick and everyone in his family, and shout out to Andrew. You know, you guys are doing great things. You know, we can't save them all. Sometimes things happen. So I just want everybody at Houses for Warriors, just let you guys know that we're thinking about you guys. So a lot of things going on with Warriors Next Adventure here. We have very shortly here, I'm looking to purchase a property. I'm selling my house and I'm moving out to another property in Mora, Minnesota. It's about 40 minutes north of Twin Cities. And we have a meeting in 2 weeks with a group of folks. I'm not going to say who they are. But we're pushing for about $1.5 million to finally build this mental wellness retreat. It's going to be called the MWR, right? You see the play on words there? So the MWR is going to have all kinds of different activities, right? So it's going to be a veteran retreat / community center. It's going to be available to the public. The public has to pay a small fee. You know, I'm talking like $40 a month for the gym membership. And then we'll have a wood shop and auto shop. Both of those will be able to be rented out. If you want to go in, the wood shop's going to be donation based. The auto shop, if you want to rent a lift, that's going to be like $20-$30 an hour. We don't have all the prices set, but it's going to be very, very affordable. I want it to be something that people can actually, you know, want to utilize, but also isn't going to break the bank for them to actually use the property. On top of that, we'll have a music studio, recording studio, a podcast studio. We'll have a classroom where we actually be teaching classes about PTSD. We'll be doing meetups for our own version of AA, because, you know, we take religion out of everything. So I think there's other ways that AA could be done. I'm not saying I'm better than AA, but I have some different ideas, and I'm going to see if people enjoy it, you know, and we'll keep going if it works. And if it doesn't work, we'll reevaluate. On top of that, we'll have another facility. Would be 1,800 square feet of jiu-jitsu mats, which is going to be amazing. I cannot wait for that place. We will be a Trax BJJ affiliate, which is the gym that I've been going to since 2014. Mark Mortensen's Air Force veteran. He's also like a father to me. He's a great dude. So that's great. And then we'll also have the rest of that gym. It's 60 feet by 100 feet, and the rest will be weightlifting gym. So it'll be like a legitimate bodybuilding gym. So it's not going to be like Planet Fitness. No one's going to get yelled at for slamming weights. On top of that, we're going to have a barn. We're going to have goats, chickens, horses. I've been talking to the folks over at Acres for Life, and they're talking about hooking us up and coming out and getting us, helping us get the barn ready to go for the horses. We're going to be building a fence. The fence is going to be pretty large for the horses to roam quite a bit. This place is going to be amazing. On top of that, we're going to have a meditation garden. We're going to have yoga classes, meditation classes, jiu-jitsu classes, weightlifting, woodworking classes. We got other veterans that want to open up a forge there as well, which we're probably going to end up doing that because knives are cool. So this place essentially is going to be a one-of-a-kind, state-of-the-art facility for mental wellness. Now, because I don't have any fancy letters next to my name, it's just called the Mental Wellness Retreat, right? So anybody can do stuff like this. So what our goal is, once a month, we'll fly 5 veterans in from all around the country. And what we'll do is pick them up in Minneapolis, drive them up to the retreat, do like an orientation, show everybody all of the activities that we have. And then what we'll do is we're putting them through the 5-day 6 principles course. So the 6 principles are what I utilize to help my veterans. And I decided to, take that to the next level, because we've serviced over 30,000 veterans in the last 3 years. And that's absolutely amazing. And I'm proud of myself for that. But I've built a team that has made it possible. Shout out to all my ambassadors and my board members. You guys really helped me make things work. Now, speaking of the 6 principles and life coaching and all these things, I recently ran into this guy, Devlin, on Vetrepreneurs. I think it's what it's called on Facebook. But he's a life coach, and I figured we'd bring him on and talk to him just kind of about some of the things he wants to do. He's also working on starting a nonprofit, so that's one of the things that I'm working with him with. He's an Army veteran from 2008, 2012, a couple deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. So we're going to bring him on, and we're just going to talk a little bit about what he does. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, what's up, Nick? Great to be
not
here.
Much. Yeah, thank you. It's called Vetrepreneurs, right?
Vetrepreneur Tribe, I think, is what the
Okay. So if you're a veteran and you run a business, join Vetrepreneur Tribe. It's Tribe. It's very the amount of people in there and the amount of information that's getting spread around is awesome.
Yeah, awesome group, really helpful group. I've looked at a bunch of different groups over the years, and this is the first one that has really been super helpful and really engaged.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I thought you actually run it because you're always posting. Like nobody, you're the only one I see consistently posting in there.
Yeah, no, just posting a lot. Yeah, I've received a ton of value just in terms of engagement and people, answering questions, and so I'm trying to do the same. Give back.
So I got a question.
Yeah.
I put out an ad on Facebook. I was for my life coaching business for Invoke Change. I was called a grifter, a dirty piece of crap, just every name under the book, pretty much saying that you're a complete piece of trash for asking people for money for helping them. I'm like, what does a therapist do? You know, like, do you ever get flack like that?
Yeah, I do sometimes. I think there's certain rules in the group about when. Hang on one second. Hey, can you give me some time, please?
Not like this is a radio show or anything,
Yeah.
I'm just joking. It's all good.
All right, come here, so. Come here. Put her out here. If you're in here, you gotta be quiet, okay, buddy? All right. You okay?
So for those of you who know, life coaching is it. I want to get your opinion on this. This is my opinion of life coaching. Everyone wants to say, like, well, do you have a degree? Do you have a degree? Do you have a degree? Right? I ask everybody all the time, what do you do in school? Right?
Yeah.
You listen to lectures, you watch videos, and you listen to dudes talk to you. That's it, right? Why can't you do it yourself? I've met some life coaches that have done more for me than any therapist ever has.
Yep.
Because it's more so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more so experience over education, right?
Yes.
So 100%. I've been actively studying in the field since 2018.
Yep.
When it comes to veterans' mental health, is because I built these six principles that I was talking about. I built them for myself, nobody else. Like I had no plans of sharing my 6 principles. It was just, I heard a speech. I don't remember who it was from. It might have been Jordan Peterson, but I think it was before he really blew up. But it was about like just having specific principles to live by in life. I'm like, I don't have any principles. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to create my principles. And I landed on 6 and I just left with that. And, I just so happened to notice a veteran that was struggling. And I'm like, well, bro, let's go on a hike. I want to share something with you. And it just worked. And I'm like, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yeah.
How did you stumble upon life coaching?
Well, it's a bit of a story, but,
we got time, man.
Yeah, we got time. Sweet. When I got out of the military, about 10 years ago, I knew I wanted to continue to lead. I knew I wanted to continue to have adventures, and yet I chose security, right? I chose safety. So I was recently married. I had a kid now, and all that responsibility felt really heavy. So I went back into engineering, which was my degree from before I joined the military. But I was miserable, right? I was just no fulfillment. I had no vision for my life, no principles, like you said, and just kind of going through the motions. And after a few years of that I realized that wasn't working. No. And so I thought, let me go get my MBA, because this is like, this is what you do when you get out of the military and you don't know what you're doing next. Mm-hmm. And I thought maybe that's how I can, achieve more. I mean, this is one thing, the theme of my life has been achievement without a vision, right? So just go, try to get
like all those people going to school. I'm just getting my generals.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. So I went and got my MBA, and, this was a executive MBA. So I was working full time. Mm-hmm. I was going to school full time. I had 3 kids under 4 during the time that I was in that MBA program. And just continued 100 miles an hour forward, trying to achieve. And before the end of the MBA program, I had a new job, ended up having to move from New Hampshire to New Jersey, and dove headfirst into the rat race. I was living right outside Manhattan, working all the time, and everything around me was falling apart, and I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
Ew, New Jersey.
Ew. People.
I was up at Fort Dix for a while, dude, and it just stinks.
Yeah.
It's I don't know why, but every time I drive on that Jersey Turnpike, it just smells like garbage.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm sure there's some good things about New Jersey somewhere. There's a lot of
If you live in New Jersey, I'm sorry, but your state sucks.
Right. So my experience was not great in New Jersey either, right?
Yeah,
so it was just all work. My marriage was falling apart. All this stuff was happening. I was miserable, and I didn't realize it until a friend of mine asked me a question. He said, "Do you want to stay married?" And I was like, "Oh, is that the question? Is that really where we're at?" And it took me a couple of days to answer that because I realized the gravity of that question. And when I finally answered it, yes, I knew I had to turn my whole life around and just let go of all the sunk costs of the time and the energy and the money that went into getting the MBA to getting to where I was in my career, and picked up and moved from New Jersey back to New Hampshire with my family to get closer to family. And
so you guys moved because of your job, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep. So then we moved back to start to sort of reassemble our lives. And the only thing that I knew that I could connect to was I have to live my life with more intention. And I had no idea what that meant or what that was going to lead to, but I knew that it was related to me getting to that place of rock bottom where, I just realized this wasn't working. I'm about 40 years old at that point. Right. So I hit that point and knew I had to turn it around. No idea what was coming next.
Yeah.
Through this process of like continuing to follow this one intention, I found the 12 steps, right? I went through them for control. So it was kind of outside of AA, but this same buddy who had asked me that question had just gained these tools through a program and was like, well, I've got these things, sort of like you with your friend with the principles. He was like, These tools work, maybe we could try them out on your situation. And so I identified I had an addiction to control and started to methodically, peel back the layers around that, did my thorough inventory and went through each step. And what I realize now is that was my first transformational program. So I just continued to seek more information, more knowledge. I've always gone all in everything that I do. So this was like, headfirst into personal growth and transformation. And after about 6 months, I realized I think I'm supposed to be a coach. All this stuff is really helping me, and I have a deep desire to help other people. Once I started to get that glimpse of freedom and of play and of joy and just living life a different way, I just felt like I need to turn around and help out, the guys and gals that are behind me.
Oh, dude, it's like a drug, man. Like it's the best one I've ever taken, and it's free. Is I think my big moment when I realized that I want to help people. I mean, it was when I was like 9 years old, and my mom had crashed her snowmobile, and she was rough, dude. And I had to call the ambulance and everything. She fucking died in my arms and shit. I had to bring her back with CPR, and she spent 6 months in a body cast. It was fucking rough. But that night, a police officer came out, and he instantly went straight to me and started asking if I was okay. And like when they got my mom on the stretchers, we lived on a lake, and they crashed into a snowbank, and it was wintertime. And so we had to walk around and go up the dock area, and they actually let me help carry my mom. I was 9, so like I wasn't strong enough, but they still let me do it, so I felt like I was helping. And we got her in there, and he looks at me, he's like, you probably saved your mom's life, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you make a good cop someday. That's when I knew like I wanted to help people, and being a cop is what I wanted to do, right? And then 2017, I was with the Minnesota State Patrol. When I got out, I was shitbag for about a year, and then I got it all together, got a job at the State Patrol as a dispatcher, and like I loved it. It was great. I wasn't the one arresting people. I was just helping. That's my whole job.
Yeah.
And I had a suicide call. It was 2017, and she ended up calling and saying she was going to kill herself. I mean, it's pretty typical for me, and I know it sounds crazy for a lot of people, but that's a pretty typical day in a 911 dispatcher's life.
Yeah.
And so we start talking, but she said she was a veteran, and I'm like, oh shit, this is very close to home. So we started chatting, and I told her that I was a veteran too. We had the rapport, and I just really gave it everything, man. And she took a step forward, like she was going to jump, and I had never told anybody I had attempted suicide before. It had been like 2 years. So I told her, and I'm like, let me tell you something before you go. Like, I've never told anybody this, but I've been searching for my purpose for the last 2 years. I was like, I attempted suicide, and then the gun didn't go off. I was like, maybe this is why I'm here. Like that was exactly when I knew I needed to help veterans with suicide prevention. So like I had a very direct moment, like this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's addicting, man.
Yeah. That's a beautiful story, man. I really, really appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, it's, as I started to embrace this possibility that I was meant to be a life coach and help other people, live a more full life. I noticed, now that I had that lens, I was like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, I was always about, hey, if you're not happy, do something different, right? It just seems so obvious to me. And so that thread has sort of been woven through everything that I've done.
Well, everyone thinks that just because you have a job that pays well, you have to stay there, or like you don't have to stay at the job that you're at. Life is short.
Yeah, life is short. Yeah, it really is, and it can be incredible. It can be awesome, but we hold ourselves back for all sorts of reasons, and that's what I'm here to do, to help people break out of that. It's really like the people that I love helping the most are the unhappy achievers, right? And because that's my story, right? It's just like, yeah, you've done all the things on paper, it looks great, and let's check in right now with you. How's it going? Right.
I watched a video the other day and it made a lot of sense. I can't remember who it was. Damn it. This is going to piss me off. But either way, they were talking about, it was Dr. Andrew Huberman. We're talking about dopamine release, right? So there's a lot of people who say, well, once this happens, then I'll be happy. Yes. Once this happens, then I'll be happy. It's like, you cannot live your life like that. Yeah. It's my favorite quote in the world is the first quote. One of the first quotes I put on the boat that we're rowing across the ocean is, I just lost it. Damn it. Fucking brain damage, man.
We'll get you.
Oh, yeah. Don't concern yourself with the pursuit of happiness, but in the happiness in the pursuit. You just enjoy it. The journey sucks sometimes. I don't love weightlifting, but I lift like 4 or 5 times a week because you have to do it. And I don't want to be skinny, My girlfriend's already told me she doesn't like skinny guys. So, but no, like I want to look good. I want to look in the mirror and see myself and go, I'm proud of myself, because 3 months ago, I didn't feel that way.
Yeah. It takes putting in the reps, and it takes, learning how to love where you're at right now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You can appreciate where you're at and be happy with where you're at, but not be content, and that's something I try to push on people. Like, strive for more, appreciate what you have, and be happy with what you have in the moment, but also realize there's nothing wrong with wanting more. That's right. It has to be a good balance though, because if you're, the unhappy achiever, you're constantly focusing on, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? But when you achieve something, you never actually take the time to take a step back. Oh, this is, so it was Dr. Andrew Huberman. He was just talking about this. When you achieve something, let yourself be in the moment, because you get massive amounts of dopamine strikes, right? Yeah. And so what people try to do is to keep that high. They don't realize there's going to be, there's going to be a low. Yeah. Yeah. So what you have to do is essentially let yourself feel it. For me, a lot of people realize when I complete something, I go through a very, not a deep, but I go through a dip where I'm like almost sad. It's kind of like the Lord of the Rings with J.R.R. Tolkien. He was a veteran, and writing Lord of the Rings was his therapy for, World War I trench warfare. Right. And that point where Frodo at the end finished writing his book, and he's just like, there's nothing left for me here. Yeah. It's because it's how do you, how do you do all of these amazing things? And then next thing you know, you're just going to sit there in the Shire.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. that doesn't sound right.
No, fuck that. I want something more, you
Well,
know. But
that's
you
my
have to
goal.
let yourself feel that. You can't
Right.
just try to go to the next thing. Feel it for a little bit and then go on the next adventure, you know?
And it sounds simple, but this is transformative, right?
Mhm,
Because this is starting to point to a different way of living, right? I
mhm.
mean, this is like the whole like vision of, work 40 years, get a gold watch and then go retire versus like, no, I'm just going to live my purpose and my passion
Yeah,
for the rest of my life in whatever form that is required at that time, and doing an exercise or a practice like that of really being in the moment, celebrating, feeling the gratitude. That's part of how you shift to that different lifestyle, right? I
yeah.
mean,
Feeling
our
the gratitude and the sadness that the journey's over, you know?
that's right. Yeah, be with it, right? This is the human experience, and we don't want to gloss over any of it because then we're going to
Yeah.
miss it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, everyone thinks everything needs to be happy all the time, right? I
Mm,
live, Jordan Peterson just shared something like this, and it was like, that's exactly how I live my life, where it's like, I'm massively depressed and overwhelmingly happy at the same
yeah,
time,
yeah,
and a lot of people say that's not a good way to live life. Like, well, it's helped save 110 people on the suicide hotline.
yeah.
I think I'm supposed to live my life like this because
Mm.
it's going to help people. What is going on? Some dude sitting out there just honking his horn. I'm about to go out there and punch him in the
Oh,
face.
I can't hear it on my end, but
Good.
yeah,
But it's like, it's not always a bad thing to be sad. It's not a
yeah,
bad thing to be depressed. When I work with grieving families, I always tell them, like, listen, be sad. Lay on
yeah,
the couch all day and cry.
yeah,
Eat a fucking pizza, right? What I do is I eat when I'm sad.
yeah.
You know,
Same here.
just feel it. Feel that, because that is pure life right there.
Yeah,
It's the
it's like,
sadness of it.
and it's if you don't feel it, it's going to get stuck,
Mhm.
right? There's a ton of research out there now. The body keeps the score, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like we're meant to feel these experiences, and when we don't, it's not like they go away; they just get
Mhm.
stored,
You
right?
just bury it,
Yeah,
right?
you bury it down. And one of the things, this is one thing that I bring into my coaching, which I mean, I'm sure you have a version of this too, is judgment-free awareness,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's just observing what it is right now and not piling judgment on top of it, which we all do. I still
Yeah.
do it, right? But the beautiful thing about this tool is that you can use it at any point. At any point in the spiral, you can plug this in and interrupt that pattern and go, "Oh, how interesting. I'm doing that thing again."
Yeah.
Right?
We
Or I'm
call it
feeling that way.
accountability without shame.
Exactly.
Be
Yep.
accountable of yourself, but don't shame yourself, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
Like, when I first got out, and I've told the story before, so it's not shocking to anybody. So anyone hearing this for the first time, it's been out there a lot. When I first got out, like, I was doing cocaine. I was a bouncer downtown Minneapolis. I hated my life, dude. I
Mhm.
was so depressed, and I was essentially looking to get killed because I
Yeah.
didn't want to kill myself.
Right.
Um, so, like, I almost got stabbed, and it was a wild, like, year. And am I proud of that? No, right? But am I ashamed of it? Not really, because it was really fun, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was a time in my life where I was not being a good person. I
Mhm.
was hurting people that didn't need to be hurt. I was being mean to people that didn't deserve it. And then that's
Yeah.
not me anymore. And so what I
Right.
tell people is I'm free from that, because that's not me,
Yeah.
right? That was me. And what I always like to tell people when they're living in their past, like, I always show them, I was like, do you have any pictures of you when you were a baby? And I was like, look at that picture. Like, is that you? Like,
Mhm.
well, yeah. Like, are you a baby?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
that was you. That is not
Yeah.
you anymore. You've transformed. You
Yeah.
understand that, when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it's no longer a caterpillar, it's a butterfly,
That's
right?
right.
So
Yeah.
that's why the whole butterfly is so well used, or so
Oh,
so
yeah.
used in the coaching world.
Yeah.
It's because it's the perfect analogy,
It is. Yeah, it's absolutely the perfect analogy, and it's from nature, right? And,
Mhm.
this nature and life, it leaves clues, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason because it fits,
Dude, I was working on a design for one of my for Invoke Change,
Mm.
and I told my design, I was like, yeah, do like a butterfly breaking out of a cocoon or something like that. He sent it to me. I'm like, that is so gay. I was like, I can't do
Okay, you
that. It was like rainbows and
let's try
purples
the
and pink.
dolphin one with the waves and the rainbow, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, let's stick with mountains. We'll stick with
Yeah,
mountains.
yeah, it's true, but,
So,
the beautiful thing is, like, you focused on you, right?
mhm, yeah,
To help resolve what was happening externally and how you were treating other people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really one of the biggest things that most of the people that I coach have to learn too, right? It's like, because everything's always focused externally, and whether it's showing up through achievement or showing up through, you know, relationships that are strained or whatever, it's like you need to start with you.
Yeah.
You know? This one woman that I was coaching, she wasn't a veteran, but she had grown up in a military family. So she had a lot of the similar patterns, right, that I could recognize.
Yeah.
So I knew I could help her. And when we first started, I was like, hey, I'm going to help you learn how to play. And she was like, that's not possible, right? I mean, she was like angry, right? She did not believe in this. She was like, all right, I'm going to give you a shot. And we got her to the point where a few months later, she's like, I feel like myself again. You know, and she's going out and like spending time with friends. And like before that, she had identified a pattern of self-immolation, I think is what she called it. She sets herself on fire, right?
Yeah.
To get things done. And instead, like now she's seeing things from a different perspective, from one of play. And we had identified a bigger dream and like how she wanted to lead. And now she's empowering her team, right? So now she's able to step back and have time for herself and go do the things she enjoys. And then that creates this virtuous cycle of like, now she's showing up to work with this different energy, right? Helping people to do the things instead of having to do them herself.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. Right?
Yeah. Everybody, I had one guy, it's the perfect example, similar thing. He's like, well, I got so much shit to do. I got all these things to do. I got all these things to do. I got blah, 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 blah. He's like, every Sunday, man, I wake up and I just start drinking. And I just, I was like, okay, when's the last time you've done something for yourself? He's like, well, every Sunday I just sit and drink. I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've gone out and done something directly for you that doesn't involve alcohol? Like just sit by a river. Just find some scenery and sit by. He's got a river by his house. I mean, just go sit by the river for like 6 hours. So well, what about the family? I was like, dude, if you can't take care of yourself, exactly. I'm like, he's like, yeah, but I got so much shit to do. I was like, dude, if you want to be productive, spend some time being unproductive. And he's like, what? And he's like, no, I can't do that. I'm like, no. Understand this.
Yeah.
Take time out of your day, right? Even if it's like an hour. I tell people to meditate. If you can take an hour out of your day, meditate for 15 minutes and just sit there and stare off and like sit outside and just stare at the trees, right?
Yes.
Actually take the time to just be in nature. Like you said, kind of learn how to play again.
Yes.
It's you have to take the time and actually just stop, right?
Yes.
Stop, get out of the rat race for 15 minutes a day, you know, and just stare off into space, sit by a lake and watch a sunset. Simple things like that. Nature has brought it's proven multiple times to bring people back.
Absolutely.
You know? Yep. And, you know, teaching people how to be unproductive productively, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to it, like the resetting the nervous system, right? I mean, when you get out into nature, there's all sorts of stuff happening that we're just starting to realize from a scientific level.
Did we talk about the 3-day effect?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's such a good book. I'm trying to get a hold of the guy's a veteran over at university in Utah.
Okay.
He's the one that put all like, it's called the EEG, I think, the machine with all this on your hands.
Yeah.
And he's the one that actually has done the studies. He's a veteran. So like, I've been dying to try to find this dude, and I don't know his name. I can't remember what I don't know anything about the guy yet.
Well, if anybody knows who's listening to the show,
I know, right? I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
But like, what is your take on using nature for healing?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm doing currently, and I'm looking to scale in my business. Is you know, my big dream is to uplift humanity and wage peace through transformational adventures. And so, you know, transformational adventures is a phrase that I use everywhere, right? I think that a coaching session can be a transformational adventure, and it's also specifically about getting people out into nature, right? And setting the container for transformation, but using nature as that setting. It's so powerful, because it's almost like you just don't really even have to do that much, and people start to slow down. They start to reconnect. They start to, you know, have these thoughts about like, wait, what am I doing with my life? What's really important? And we are nature, right?
Yeah.
Human nature, right? We are part of this earth. We are part of this whole system that exists. And so when we get into nature, all of those kinds of things are triggered in us, And it's just makes it that much easier to slow down and to reconnect to what's important.
Yeah.
And then, what I love doing is taking individuals or small groups and really setting an intentional container there with a little bit of meditation, a little bit of intention setting. And then as we move right in our bodies, we're physically moving, hiking up a trail or rock climbing or doing something else. And it's just transformative, man. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen, tough grown men break down in tears.
Oh, dude, that's my favorite thing in the world. Is
I love it, man. And then just holding that space for them, right? Like, hey, man,
Yeah.
got you. Like, I got you. What you're dealing with right now, got you, right? And it's real, and it's okay.
My favorite thing to do is just completely ignore it. Like, they're break down crying and just keep going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a theory back in 2018 that EMDR therapy doesn't necessarily have to be sitting down in a room with the left-right movement.
Yeah.
I had a theory that it's quite literally any activity. It's any activity that we're doing, because what we're doing is we're talking about the trauma while we're physically doing something else, right?
Yes.
So the focus isn't on the trauma. It's just a part of the conversation, right? So
Yes.
I started taking veterans hiking, and like I said, I've been doing my own research for years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is absolutely, it's nearly 100% effective with every single veteran that I go with, because when you spend time out in nature, you're everything that you talk about and think about during that moment, you're tying your sights, smells, sounds, everything together, right? So essentially what you're doing is when you get them talking about a trauma while you're hiking, doing another activity, that trauma begins to get tied to that new adventure, right? So I always have them talk about the sounds. I have them talk about the smells, the sights, everything, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I focus on all the senses, because you don't even realize it, but you're tying all of your senses to that current moment, right? So it's like a VHS tape. You're recording over it. The past is still there, but the new memory is what shows. So anytime they start having a flashback to that trauma, now you're back to the dick and fart jokes with Nick on the mountain, so because we use humor in everything we do, because it triggers endorphins and it triggers dopamine release, just because like that little ha ha ha, what it does inside of us, it makes you feel happy, right? On top of that, you get the oxytocin release just by the camaraderie of the aspect of being together with other men.
That's right. Yeah. It's so powerful, man. And it's like, this is one of the things that lights me up, right? Is helping people who've come out of the military reconnect to purpose, adventure, and community. Right.
Yeah.
So these are like the three big pieces, I think, that are so strong in the military when you're all on this mission together, and you all through the training, and then you get out and it's like, whoa, I'm solo. And where do I find these things that are super important, right? For us as humans, we need to have this like sense of belonging. We need to have this sense of purpose. We need to have, companionship.
One thing where we're very similar is like getting rid of like being a veteran, right?
Yes.
We're still veterans, proud of it, very proud of my service, but I don't introduce people. I'm a veteran. Like,
right.
No, I'm Nick. This is what I do with my life.
Right.
I happen to be a veteran,
Yeah, it's part of who I am, and it's not my identity.
Yeah, we're not walking around in camo and shit. Like, nothing against people who do. Like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. That's right. But most people who are struggling, like most veterans who are struggling that always wear camo and stuff like that, they're living in the past. They're still holding on to that.
Yeah,
you gotta let it go.
Yep. Yeah, and the one of the great ways to do that is to do something like we're talking about, right? Get with a group of people, like go, share, find the group that resonates with you, right? That's so important. I just want to highlight one thing you were saying is like the reason that works is that we absorb all these experiences in life with other people. Right. So when you receive that trauma, when you were out on that mission and that, and shit went down, it's like you were with other people. You were doing something physically. Right. So when we get the opportunity to pull that back out, to transform our relationship with that experience, we do it in a setting with other people, right? Where we're doing something physical. But we're giving it a different frame, like you said, right? Now it's in a container of understanding, of safety, of camaraderie, and then we can bring it back out and look at it in a different way.
Yeah.
Right. And
That's why I like adding adrenaline to everything that we do too.
Yes.
Is because the adrenaline spikes are gonna, it's gonna invoke that fight or flight.
Yep.
And when you can get somebody in the fight or flight while talking about a trauma, it's amazing what happens, right? Because initially you're gonna want to run, but you get guys like us who, are trained in how to deal with this kind of stuff.
Yes.
Just be like, hey, I got you. Let's talk about it. I'm not going to let you run anymore, because every time you run away from a trauma or a thought, like meditation, you have something come into your head and you're like, no. And you try fighting it.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason. It's trying to show you something.
Yeah. It's going to show you something. It wants to come out. Right. I mean, our nature is to be free.
Mm-hmm.
And, the universe or Mother Nature, or whatever you want to call it, wants that for us. Right. So all these mechanisms that happen, in meditation, a lot of people try meditation. They go, my brain, it's crazy. It's so loud in there. It's like, I'm not meditating right. No, you are. Right.
Yeah.
When you first start.
That's why I tell them you're not doing it right.
When you first start, all that stuff's going to come up because it hasn't had a chance to come up, and then eventually you'll get to a point where it's quieter and quieter. But all of this stuff is happening the way it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
We just don't understand it because we haven't been taught, how to deal with this level of stuff.
We're taught to shut the hell up and push.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's why veterans need to understand, like, listen, yes, at that time, good for us. I got a speech coming up for the Air Force pretty soon here. I'm pretty shocked that I sent an invoice to the Air Force. That was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Well done.
But that's one of the things I'm going to talk about is, like, while you're in the military, yes, you need to push, right? But you also need to understand that it is okay to take a knee, take a knee and say, hey, I need some help, right?
Yeah.
But that's where it goes on leadership. Do not punish people for getting help, essentially making them sweep and clean the goddamn squadron when they're just trying to get some help, or people that just go talk to somebody and they're doing okay, but they need a little reboot. And next thing you know, they find, oh, you went to mental health. Give me your gun. It's like, what? Like, I always say this, like, imagine if our war fighters were actually mentally fit as well.
Right.
Because they're not.
Yeah.
Half of them are children, 19, 18, 19-year-old kids. First time I deployed, I was 19 years old. Well, deployed. I was in Qatar that deployment. So it was Dairy Queen by the poolside was a little rough, man.
Yeah. Still a big deal for a 19-year-old, not knowing what they're really getting into.
Oh, dude, I was freaking out, man. I'm just like, oh man, I'm deploying. I'm going to die. Like, and then I get to Qatar. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, this is cool.
Hot.
It's hot. It's hot and sandy.
Bro, it was like 120 degrees like every day. It sucked.
Yeah.
It was rough. But anyway, what, with your coaching strategies, what do you try to do with your guys when it comes to, my philosophy is I want you to not have to call me again. Like, I want you done with me within 5 or 6 conversations.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to just call just to BS, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to charge everybody for every conversation, but I don't want them to need me,
Right.
My goal is to put them off on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I have similar goals and asterisk. I'm always there for the next level dream.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I personally will always have a life coach, maybe multiple, just because I believe in it so much. I've seen the power of it. Because every time that I achieve that thing, I'm like, oh, what's next? Right.
Yeah.
And so having a guide for that next level adventure that's something that I buy into 1,000%. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's nice having a cheerleader too, that you're going to call that person. They're going to be like, yes.
Yeah. And I just know I'm going to run into some fear. I'm going to run into challenges, because that's the level that I'm playing at. I'm right on the edge, man.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but it really is about helping these people embrace a new operating system, so that it's not just a quick fix. It's not a Band-Aid, right? I'm not giving you duct tape, and we might need that at first, but ultimately it's about, okay, now what are the things that you can put into your toolkit so that you can move forward in a more empowered way, so that you can choose different things for your life, more heart-centered things that you actually want.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that we do is we get really clear on a dream, right? What is your vision? because that was the one thing that was absolutely missing for me when I got out, and I wish I had had it, because it would have saved me years of struggle, and maybe would have saved my marriage, and so it would have been a different experience. And so first thing is, what's your vision for what you want next? And it might be like, I don't know, I need to figure that out. Cool, that's your vision, right? Like there's so we start there, and then we get very clear on what are the peak experiences that you want to have, right? Because that's what life is about. I think the life that you want to live is full of peak experiences, where you feel alive, where you feel you feel that adrenaline, you feel that connection, you feel joy, whatever it is that you're seeking, right? We're going to design those peak experiences, and then we're going to go play for it, right? And that's going to be really challenging, because we're going to do things different, right? We're going to do new things. It's like
going to push against your what's it called, the paradox?
The paradigm. Your current paradigm.
There you go. My bad.
Yeah, we're going to shake the shit out of that.
Dude, that's the best when you first get somebody, like you push them to do something. They're like, no, like, hold on. Why are you acting like that?
Yeah.
Why are you pushing so hard against a new idea?
Yeah. And the cool thing is, in my coaching, is we practice it, right? We practice it. Whatever it is you're going to do, we practice it, so that it takes a little bit of that edge off, and you start to understand, why do I really want to do this? What's my intention here? What do I really want to have happen? And then you go play for it. And you're going to run up against fear. You're going to run up against challenges.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of really awesome tools to help dissect that, so that we get you aligned again when you get stuck, and get you playing life bigger. It's an incredible thing, man. It's totally changed my life. This shift from like, I have to do it perfectly, I have to achieve, I have to grind, to like, nope, I get to just experiment. I get to go play.
Dude, and the thing is too, is like, people are so scared of failure. Like that's the one thing that makes me kind of sad, is like, why are you so scared of failing? I've told people all the time, I've failed more in the last 3 years I have in my whole life. I'm more successful now than I've ever been.
Right.
It's because when you never take the chance, you're never going to get anything. It's I mean, it's a shitty analogy, but it's like playing the lottery. You're not going to win the lottery if you don't play,
Right.
But this is like, it's quite literally, you are 100% in charge of whatever future you want. You just have to have, our main focus is manifest what future you want, right? And then put it aside. Right. Take that and set it aside. Right. It's on the shelf. You're not even trying to do anything. Now, what are the boundaries? What are the obstacles in the way? Once we identify the obstacles, my problem with my ADHD brain is like, the second someone starts telling me one of their problems or like one of their obstacles, I'm just like, well, easy. Let's just do this. And they're like, it's not that easy. I'm like, yeah, it actually really is. It's an easy solution. Doing it is difficult. The solutions in life are so simple, but actively putting it into plan and taking those steps, that's the difficult part. And that's where people like us come in, is helping you take those steps.
That's right. And because we're helping you reconnect to something more authentic, right? Something real that maybe has been lost for a long time.
Authentic is the perfect word.
That's because it's like you've been functioning great, right? Maybe you had a job, maybe you're military, now maybe you're in corporate, and functionally things are going well, right? But what we're looking for is an up-leveled life experience, right? And that's going to require peeling back some of the programming that has been installed. That programming
also helping them drop those guards too a little bit.
Yes, well, exactly. But it's all related, right? So we've learned how to function. We've learned how to function based largely on like an industrial kind of mindset, that's all about production. It's all about, perfection. And if you can't do it right the first time, don't do it. Do your own work, don't. And that's great to a point. But we have this opportunity to live in a different way. And that old way isn't really working, right? And you're going to notice this. Just look for where you're frustrated, right? Look for where you're consistently drained, right? Look for those things, and you'll see them. They're in your job. They're in your relationships.
And so look for the people that drain you too.
The people is a big one. Yep, that's one of the, like, I do a lot of environmental design with my people, and it's like the people environment is huge.
We always talk about the shooting stars and the black clouds, right? There's most people are one of two. So in the 6 principles, the first principle is, who do you have, right?
Yeah.
Who do you surround yourself with? You know,
Mhm.
are there any black clouds around, right? Those
Yep.
black clouds that just cover your fucking shade or your
That's
sun,
right.
and they
Yeah.
pull you down, like the ones
Yeah.
pulling you down the mountain. Just be happy with what you have. You
Right,
know,
right.
those people are demons, man.
Yep.
And then,
Crabs in a bucket.
yeah, and then you get those shooting stars, like guys like us. Like, I have so many vets that call me to tell me, like, even the smallest accomplishments. Like, bro, look what I just did today. And I'm just like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'm genuinely happy for them. But at the same time, even if I'm not feeling it, I still do it, because all that they need. Can you still hear me right now?
Yeah, I got you.
My headphones keep going out. All
Yeah.
you really need is somebody to really push you to, like, actually, realize that that accomplishment should be celebrated, even if
Yeah.
it's only for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You should still celebrate every small accomplishment, and then just be proud, sit in it for a few minutes, and then be okay. What are we doing next, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And but again, that's an upgraded practice, right? That's not
Yeah.
something we're ever taught. You know,
No.
we're taught, hey, you just did your job. Okay. I'm just doing my job. Okay. Yeah. And you're doing some amazing things that, you can celebrate those along the
Yeah.
way and still be doing your job.
It's kind of
You
like
know?
the thank you for your service thing. I used to be like, oh, no, 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 no. Well, now I'm
Yeah.
just like, thank you. I appreciate it. It
Yep.
was a fun time. Yeah.
Somebody helped me with that one too, because I was really awkward around that for a long time. They said, maybe just say something like, yeah, thanks for your support. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. Yeah. I acknowledge that you're thanking me. Doesn't have to mean anything. I don't have to get weird about it. And I can thank you for thanking me, and then we can move on.
Yeah. My buddy Guff always says, thanks for being worth it. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, you're so
Aw.
sweet. That's good
Awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, I love what you do, man. Like, it's do you focus on the individual usually, or you try to go for business coaching, or like what's your focus?
Yeah. Usually it's the individual. So my focus is really on getting you fully alive, right? Getting your superpowers back online, getting you tied in with your big dream, and really starting to amplify the good things that are going on, and then shed the things that are draining your energy, right? So now what happens is, even if I'm not specifically focusing on your business or on your career, those things start to thrive. Those things start to expand, right? Things start to get really good. It's like,
Everything starts with the individual.
yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Mostly we'll do some external environmental design, to help with that structure. But
Mhm.
mostly it comes down to the inner work, right? So that's really where I focus the majority of the time. It's like this one woman. She was a VP for a marketing company, and she was stuck, man, just inside. She was just stuck, right? Didn't believe that anything could change. We started to peel back these layers, and she had just started this new role. She got called into her CEO's office, and he was like, hey, we want to offer you an equity grant, right, in the company. Like, we weren't focused on raising her income or any kind of like wealth topics, right? All we were focusing on was how to get her free so that she could show up to be the person that she wanted to be every day.
Yeah.
And her managers noticed, right? Her team
Yeah.
noticed. They're like, man, this woman's incredible, right? So
When you first start to take those next step forward, people are going to go up to you like, are you okay? What's
yeah,
different?
what are you doing?
People are going to notice.
Yes.
The best thing is too is like, I'm pretty good at not hiding when I'm like depressed, but like I have to show up for what I do. I have to show up, but showing up for me pushes that aside,
Yeah.
but it doesn't only push that aside. It dissolves it, right? For
Yeah.
me, because my focus is I have to help people, right? My love language is acts of service. So
Mhm.
everyone's like, well, what about yourself? What about you? What are you doing for you? Like, you don't realize like how much helping other people helps me.
Yeah.
And then I like to just disappear for a couple hours. Like,
Yeah.
just I'm an introvert when it comes to my healing methods. Like, I need to replenish alone,
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well,
man, it helps me so much helping people. It gives me a purpose.
yeah. And I think, I mean, in my experience, maybe everybody, when they really get in touch with a heart-centered dream, it has something to do with helping others.
Yeah.
I think that's just a human experience, right? When you really get clear about what you're doing and why you're doing it, it comes down to serving someone else, helping someone else.
Yeah. I think that's where Buddhism really got it right too. So if anybody who doesn't know Buddhism, again, I'm not a Buddhist. I swear too much and I like meat, but you know, I've been following Buddhism since 2016, and there's the 8-step path. One of the steps is the right job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do with your life? Like, how do you make money, right? We all have to make money, right?
Yeah.
There's certain people that are lucky enough to don't, but what part of humanity is your job serving, right?
Yeah.
I got a guy who works at a grocery store right now, and he's like, well, and I was like, well, listen, dude, people need groceries. Like during the pandemic, you guys were there, right?
Yeah.
You guys were there stocking those shelves so we can go in and get food. If I don't have food, I don't survive. You were providing that for other people. And he's like, man, I never thought about it like that. I was like, dude, just be the best at whatever job you have. And if you ultimately decide like that job is not doing it for you, change jobs. It's that simple. But like when you have a job, like you're saying, that gives back to other people or provides them a service that makes their life better, no matter what, like, and this is what I do with entrepreneurial coaching, is like, what problem are you solving for people? When you learn how to properly solve a problem for somebody and you take pride in that, everything in life is going to get better. Everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. And that's, you know, that's why I get so fired up about what I do when I help someone who's gone from, you know, they're successful on paper, but they're like, wait, did I miss something? Like, why am I still unfulfilled? Why am I still unhappy? It's
Go outside and jump in a puddle when it's raining.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Just
when we get like, when they have that first experience, and sometimes that experience is even just in their imagination, right? And they connect to that, and it's like, whoa, I get to do that. Like, yeah. It's your life.
Dude, I'll make some of my people howl like when we're hiking and shit. It's like howling like wolves and shit. They're just like, this is so stupid. I was like, I know, but you're laughing.
Yeah,
you know?
We've done that too. It's incredible. Yeah, let out a good yell in the middle of nowhere.
Well, hey, dude, we only got like 2 minutes left, so you just got any last words? How do people find you? How do people search you out? We got to do a Warriors Next Adventure. There's so much more we need to talk about.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your website? How do people find you?
Yeah, so my website is just nickdevlincoaching.com. And for anybody who's listening, if you go to nickdevlincoaching.com/dream, there's a free gift that I put together just actually for this show. And it's sort of a guided exploration. It'll lead you through a few questions, take some time to reflect on some of these questions. And it's going to lead you to those peak experiences that you want to have, which is just a great starting point if you're thinking about doing things differently. That can help you kind of recalibrate. So nice. That's probably the best way. And then, I'm on all the socials and stuff. But
awesome. Well, hey, dude, thanks. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to drop you off real quick. Okay.
Cool. All right.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right. Go check out his stuff. And I just want everybody to know, like, there's a stigma on life coaches, right? Understand that I've learned more from a couple life coaches that I've had than any therapist has ever done. I still go to therapy. I learn a lot from my therapist. However, a therapist can't take you hiking in the woods. A therapist can't take you to go do fun things, right? Your therapist has very strict boundaries. I don't have those boundaries. I can do whatever I want. Hiking is one of our main things. So go check him out. Check out a life coach. Just go through one session and see what it's like. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. But the main focus is just make sure you're making some sort of improvements in life and actually understand that improvement is good. You need to have accountability without shame, and anybody can change. I just want to say thank you, guys. Thanks again for KGRA for putting us on the air, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Perfect.